What do you remember about the 2004 Patriots?
And the Patriots are world champions again.
After winning 2 championships in 3 seasons, the Patriots' 3rd Super Bowl win in 2004 cemented their place as the NFL's dynasty of the new millennium.
Back-to-back world championships, 3 out of 4.
Now, 20 years later, we're going back for our 3rd and final chapter to recapture how the greatest Patriots team of the 2000s came together and reigned supreme.
Yes, it's a dynasty.
This is a Patriots Super Bowl sound odyssey. Yes, it's a dynasty. Episode 4, Coronation.
Let's go!
With 2 playoff victories in hand over the Colts and Steelers, the Patriots were just 1 game away from their dynastic coronation as they headed to Jacksonville to face the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 39.
Eagles did that 4th time the charm. First Super Bowl since 80, 2nd in team history. They lost to the Raiders in Super Bowl 15. And they got their redemption. 14 Eagles played in each of the last 4 title games. Sean and Michael, they're heading to the Super Bowl.
Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
Jacksonville was very interesting. You know, the new stadium, the hotel situation. I remember they had like river boats in, like as hotels. Like they had Carnival cruise lines. They were using those as hotels. Hotel space was nuts.
Accommodating the thousands in town for the game proved to be tricky as city leaders decided to bring in cruise ships along the North Bank to fit more fans.
We stayed at the, it was like the World Golf, whatever. I don't think it was the Hall of Fame, but we had the whole place to ourselves. So that was pretty cool. I just remember all of it being like, this is unbelievable. And then we practiced at a high school. We literally practiced at a high school, you know, and the NFL came in and they re-turfed the game field and we had these big tarps. But I remember we'd be practicing as the high school was getting out and everyone's like climbing the fences, you know, looking at it like we're literally, here we go, the Patriots getting ready for the Super Bowl and we're at a high school right now practicing. But we had a tough week of practice down there. It wasn't as smooth as I think we would have liked it to be, but you know, the guys pulled it together for the game for sure.
For a coach's young son and a future Patriots coach himself, it was a memorable week of build-up towards the big game.
Brian Belichick.
You know, when you go to the Super Bowl, the whole family usually gets to go and spend the week there. And so I was 13 at the time, something like that. And so I didn't know a whole lot, you know, in reality on what was actually going on, you know, with the team and like the scheme and stuff like that. But yeah, as a kid, especially, you know, for the head coach, like you can, you know, bring your family to walkthroughs and, you know, they can be around the building and the meetings and stuff. So it was, you know, it wasn't like in every meeting or anything, but, you know, every once in a while for a walkthrough or something, would be able to go, and that was, you know, big thrill. And, you know, I'd be around those guys like Rodney Harrison and Vrabel and McGinnis and, you know, Corey Dillon, Tom, obviously, you know, a lot of great players. And so, you know, I was kind of just around, like being, trying to take it all in. You know, we were there 3 out of 4 years, but just, you know, never took it for granted. It was a pretty special experience.
The biggest question hanging over the game was whether or not Philly's star receiver Terrell Owens was going to play. Just weeks removed from a broken lower leg, Owens seemed like a long shot to suit up, but would prove to be an unexpected issue for the usually overly prepared Patriots.
Will Terrell Owens be playing in Jacksonville in Super Bowl 39?
Well, I have a feeling he will.
Ivan Fears, running backs coach.
Terrell Owens. The hoopla around that just sort of overshadowed everything that, you know, the whole Super Bowl game. Terrell's coming back, blah, 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 blah. I always said the same thing. Terrell ain't very good watching from the sideline. I mean, just be honest. I mean, if we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're not giving them any breaks, and we're burning the clock, and we're keeping their butt on the sideline, we're going to be pretty good. Our defense will be all right. And sure enough, man, I mean, it was the way we played. It was our style of ball. We weren't flashy. We weren't spread out all over the place. Real freaking fullback in there, freaking big back, pound the shit out of you, and that was the game.
Head coach Bill Belichick pulled out all the motivational tricks he had, informing the Patriot players the night before the game of Philly's already planned Super Bowl parade route.
Let me just read you a little something here. I thought this was kind of interesting. First I thought I couldn't believe it, but it's actually true. Talking about the Philadelphia parade after the game. All right, it's 11 o'clock in case any of you want to attend that.
Nick Fitzy Stevens, Patriots fan and personality.
The funny things about the lead up to Super Bowl 39, because during that 2-week period, everyone knows you have to try to fill the the media cycle and narratives with something to talk about. The great stuff from Bill Belichick outlining that Philadelphia had released their Super Bowl parade plans, and that footage that came out of him being like, all right, so then they're going to go down Broad Street, and then it's going to go by the Philadelphia Art Museum. They're going to take a right over here, okay? And then it's going to go over, they're going to ride over here. They're going to stop at the Rocky statue and take a bunch of photos.
It's going to go from Broad Street up to Washington Avenue, past City Hall, then down to Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and we'll end up at the Art Museum.
That was great. Like, giving this team that is so professional and so fundamentally sound even extra inspiration. And I remember all the fans, we were like, what do they think they are? They got parade plans? I'll show you.
Scott Pioli, Patriots Director of Player Personnel.
This is a little bit more personal, but, from the time that I was a boy, all I ever wanted was one Super Bowl ring, right? And I prayed that wanted to be a player, all that. And you get there, finally, right? And I knew other people. I remember having the conversation with a guy by the name of Dom Annealy, who was my first boss. He was our college director at the Browns. And Dom was working for the Colts at the time. He had been in the league he had been in football for 40-something years and had never gotten to a Super Bowl. And I knew a lot of people who had been in the game, because I had a lot of amazing people. Tom Dimitroff Sr., Thomas's dad, and all of these people that were mentors of mine that had never been to Super Bowls. And then, you get to this moment, it's really surreal where you're there for the third time in 4 years. And there's a ton of gratitude, very emotional.
Corey Dillon, University of Washington. I just couldn't believe I'm there. You know what I mean? Hey, glancing back on where I was last year at that time to where I was then, unbelievable. I put in the work. But even though when you do put in the work, some people still don't get to experience what I was experiencing at that moment. So it was a blessing, man. It was a blessing. And it just reverts back to that handshake between Bill and me and Scott Pioli. Like, that's what it goes back to. You think you could play for us? Yes, indeed.
Belichick also dug into his bag of tricks on the defensive side of the ball, altering the Patriots' defense in a way that no one, not the Patriots players and especially not the Eagles, would expect.
Roosevelt Colvin, outside linebacker.
We played a 3-4 all year, and then in the Super Bowl, we go to a 4-3 look. And that put, I think it was Ty in the middle along with Big C. And then you got Braves and Brew and Fife. It was called Dolphin or something like that. But it was a whole new defense we had never ran before. And we got down to Jacksonville, and Bill was like, this is what we're going to run all week long. I'm like, bet, I get an opportunity to get on the field. I can play defensive end. I don't have to worry about dropping into coverage. Let's go. And it was a good situation, man. I really am appreciative to Mr. Kraft and Bill for sticking with me.
Teddy Bruschi, Arizona. The defense was called Dolphin, and it was 4 down linemen, but Vrabel and I were putting the A gaps, and literally before the snap, I'd look to Vrabes and it's like, you go or I go. And then so that was the defense. So you blitz, and then I'll cover the back man to man. No, my turn. And then both of us drop out. It was really a change. For all 3 Super Bowl victories we had a different defensive scheme to start the game. We ran a 4-3 tilt in 2001. We ran basic 3-4 versus the Panthers, and then we came out in Dolphin versus the Eagles. So I remember Friday night before the game, we made an adjustment in terms of what the coaches thought. And all right, we were thinking, dude, it's Friday, Rack. Romeo Crennel, our defensive coordinator, what are we doing here? But it's what they felt was best, and, we did it.
Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
You try to put as much of the game plan in before you head down to the Super Bowl site as you can, just because of the distractions and all the rest of it. But we really got down there, and Bill, wanted to change the game plan, and we went to what we call Dolphin 9. And Dolphin 9 would what be most people would refer to now as double mug. So I always like to tell the story, because as much as we give credit to certain coaches for running double mug and, you know, all these different unique packages and things that everybody does nowadays. You know, again, as coaches, I don't really think we ever really invent everything. I just we reshuffle it and reuse it in different ways. But we came out in double mug, and we wanted to get the 2 linebackers in open those A gaps and put as much pressure on Donovan as we could, and, you know, get Richard over the guards, and, you know, get out of the 3-4 and not have the guard bubbles anymore.
Deion Branch, Louisville.
It was a tough game. Philly was a very tough opponent. We knew that it was going to be a physical game, and we embraced that. We felt like we were the most physical team, and that's what we talked about the entire week, the 2 weeks leading up to the game. The most physical team is going to be the team who comes out on top. And we did that with Carolina. That Carolina game was probably the toughest game I've been in. But the Philly game was another one. And we overcame the obstacle. We did that back to back. And it's nothing you can take away from those guys. Nobody on that team, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm very thankful to be a part of that back-to-back squad.
Do your job. Do your job. Just take care of your assignment. Know what it is, execute it, and get it taken care of. This is over 6 months now. We've been working at this. And today, you got a chance to do something very special. It all comes down to your performance tonight. Do your job, be physical, and you'll be champions again tonight. Okay? All right, good luck tonight, man.
Like the Colts game in the divisional round, the first quarter was a feeling out period.
It's an empty backfield for McNabb on 3rd and 3 from his own 46. McNabb is back to throw the blitz, and they sack him back at the 35-yard line. Ball on the ground. Ball on the ground. Patriots. And let's see, the Patriots have it. It was Teddy Bruschi who sacked McNabb.
Rodney Harrison added another interception deep in New England territory.
Westbrook, the lone running back, comes out of the backfield in motion left. On first down, back to throw is McNabb. Here's the rush. He looks. He fires. It is intercepted. Picked off by Rodney Harrison at the 3-yard line. He read that perfectly.
But Brady and the offense were unable to move from their own 10-yard line. The defense continued to hold the line with a forced fumble by Randall Gay that Eugene Wilson recovered.
To the near side left for the Eagles comes Greg Lewis. He's a speedster. Slot to the far side right. McNabb out of a shotgun. On 3rd and 11, handles the direct snap. Stands in the pocket, fires over the middle. It is caught and stopped at the Patriot 38-yard line. Fumble. Ball on the ground. Patriots have it. The fumble recovered by Eugene Wilson.
But again, the offense could not turn the takeaway into points. Philly would finally break the stalemate in the early second quarter.
All right, Eagles out. 3rd down and goal to go at the Patriots 7. Westbrook, the running back, is offset left. McNabb straight back to throw. Pump fakes, pump fakes, pump fakes. Look, fires end zone. Touchdown, Philadelphia. To the tight end, L.J. Smith. So the Eagles draw first blood in Super Bowl 39.
Down 7-0, the Patriots offense started to come to life.
Brady on 1st and 10. Back to throw. It's a screen again. Same play. Dillon, 25, 30, left sideline, 35, 40, 42-yard line. Corey Dillon. Back-to-back screens to the left side. The Patriots drive from their own 13 all the way out to their own 42 on back-to-back first down screen pass plays.
And they were the same screen. Exactly, yeah.
Just as they were threatening to tie the game from the Eagles' 4-yard line, Brady was sacked and fumbled, with the Eagles recovering.
2nd and goal to go, Patriots. Philadelphia 4-yard line. Brady calling signal. Falk, the running back. In motion right to left. Now tight left is Daniel Graham. Brady on 2nd and goal. Brady to give no one, drops the ball on the ground and falls on it. Back at the 12-yard line. Now the big fight for the ball, but
they're saying
the Eagles have been trying to pull it out of Brady's hand.
You've been reading stories about what takes place in those piles. I mean, as far as guys biting and squeezing and grabbing.
An Eagle came out with the ball, and they're going to give him the ball.
You're kidding.
Nick Fitzy Stevens, Patriots fan and personality.
Terrell Owens, meanwhile, who was playing on a surgically repaired leg with like a pin in it, who wasn't even expected to play, games up for Super Bowl 39, has, I think, 9 catches for over 100 yards.
Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
You know, the other part about that game was, you know, remember, Terrell Owens now, he was hurt, right? So he wasn't supposed to be able to play very well. So, we had Randall Gay on him for that game, and he's a rookie, and from LSU, and we're like, all right, it's Terrell Owens, but he can't really run. He's got a broken leg. Like, we'll be okay. Dude had like 11 catches right away. I was like, we got a problem. This guy is going off right now. We better figure out how we're going to stop this guy. I think Randall Gay wanted to lead the team in tackles because that's how many catches T.O. had during the game. So there was definitely some things in the game that were an issue for sure. But we had such a confident team. We had such a strong team of leaders. They always believed. They never really doubted.
Philadelphia's out of the huddle with McNabb out of the shotgun formation. And again, Westbrook in motion out of the backfield to the right. 3rd down, 7. Direct snap to McNabb. Stands in the pocket, fires it right. Caught. Owens at the 40, 35, 30, right sideline, 25, and out of bounds, and a flag goes down. Back upfield. A penalty marker down. Let's see what this may be against the Patriots after the catch.
Holding Philadelphia.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 59. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Not a smart play.
Paul Perillo, Patriots Football Weekly.
I feel like that game was never really in doubt and never really in question, but when you watch it over again, it was. And Philly really, if I were Philly and I watched that game over again, I was Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb, I'd be like, we should have won this game. They blew a lot of opportunities in the first half to create a lead and create separation. And, it's probably a testament to just how good the Patriots were, that they could play maybe a little bit less than their best in the Super Bowl and still never really lose control of the game. And they didn't.
The defense stepped up and forced a 3-and-out. And then Brady and the offense finally broke through, thanks in part to a poor 29-yard punt by the Eagles.
Johnson gets the punt away, a short one coming down at the 40-yard line, taken there by the Patriots, and inside the 40 to the 37 was the short man on the punt return team, and that was Troy Brown. They had Brown up short and Bethel Johnson deep. So the Pats have good field position.
7 plays later, Brady hit David Givens for New England's first points of the game.
With Givens far side right, Branch right, slot Patton near side left. Dylan Malone running back. 2nd and goal, Philadelphia 4. Brady calling signals, back to throw. Looks, fires to the right. Touchdown! Touchdown! Right side of the end zone to David Givens.
It would stay 7-7 at halftime.
And that is going to be the end of the first half. And another altercation, as these two teams, who don't play each other very often, apparently don't like each other very much. But that's going to end the first half, and it ends in a first half tie with each team getting a second quarter touchdown. That's Super Bowl 39 in Jacksonville, Florida. The score at the half, the defending world champion New England Patriots 7, the Philadelphia Eagles 7.
The Patriots carried that momentum into the second half, opening the third quarter with a 9-play, 69-yard touchdown drive for their first lead.
1st and goal at the Eagles 2. Double setback, back to throw, Brady fires, end zone, caught, touchdown! Touchdown in the end zone. Flags go down after the play. I believe it was Christian Fourier or David Patton, 88 or 86.
No, it's Vrabel.
It's Vrabel, Mike Vrabel. All right.
But 2 possessions later, the Eagles would counter, tying the game with a 10-play drive.
And now the Eagles come out with an empty backfield. 3 receivers far side right, 2 to the near side left. McNabb drops straight back to throw. Here's the rush, fires, and it is caught. Touchdown, Philadelphia by Brian Westbrook. And so the Eagles drive to tie the ball game up if they hit the extra point.
The Patriots offense continued to hum, adding another touchdown after another sustained drive, and taking a 21-14 lead that would then grow to a 24-14 lead on a Vinatieri field goal almost midway through the fourth quarter.
Hochstein is the fullback. 1st and goal at the Philly 2. In motion left to right. Back to the left comes Fourier. They give us to the left side to Corey Dillon, and he is in! Touchdown! Corey Dillon! 2-yard run!
Brian Belichick.
It was watching like Antoine Smith in the 2001, and then 2002 happened, and getting 2002 and 2000, and then getting Corey Dillon. Yeah, that was a big deal at the time, having a grinded out type runner that that can wear down the defense, and you saw that in the Eagles Super Bowl was a great example of that, with a couple long drives, like one at the beginning of the second half, long drive all the way down the field. He grinded it out, and I think that one finished with him with a touchdown. But that that mentality of wearing the opponent down, both offensively and defensively, with, contact and with run game, hitting the skill players on defense, setting the edge, against the offensive line, getting off blocks, all that stuff. That game was a great example of that.
Like most Patriots Super Bowls, the Eagles would not go away quietly, with McNabb and Owens leading another scoring drive.
Owens far side left with a slot to the left. In motion comes Lewis out of the slot. Back to throw. Fires left side, complete to Terrell Owens, a missed tackle. 40-45, he's at midfield and finally pushed out of bounds at the Patriot 36-yard line.
Cutting the lead to 24-21 just after the 2-minute warning.
They break the huddle. Owens comes to the near side right, Mitchell in the right slot, Westbrook to the far side left, Lewis in the left slot, McNabb out of a shotgun. 2nd and 10. Snap to McNabb, back to throw, looks, fires down the field, and it is caught. Touchdown by Lewis. 31-yard touchdown pass. Donovan McNabb to Greg Lewis.
Brady and the Pats couldn't pick up one more first down, giving the Eagles one more possession with just 46 seconds left.
Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
Philly got the ball back, and they just needed to go down and kick a field goal to tie. But we punted the ball and pinned them down inside the 5-yard. That was an amazing punt. That is a huge, huge play in the game for the punt team to put them on the long field. And I remember Donovan coming out, and he throws up all over Hank, and Hank and I laugh about it too. But Donovan had done that at Syracuse too. So I'd seen that before, and I was like, oh, he just got sick. I'm like, we're going to win. I was like, this is going to happen.
With McNabb getting sick on the field, the Eagles were disjointed and played right into the Patriots' hands, literally, as Rodney Harrison jumped an overthrown final pass that closed out the victory.
McNabb out of a shotgun this time, has Westbrook to his right in the backfield. Wait, direct snap to McNabb. Back to throw. Looks, fires left. Intercepted. Rodney Harrison at the 20. He falls down, and that is it. The Patriots are going to be Super Bowl champions again.
Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl.
But what I remember most about that game is us sealing it on the Rodney Harrison interception, and just going back to the year before when Rodney's arm was in a sling, after I forget what the injury was, but his arm's in a sling and the confetti's raining down and Rodney's crying. And then for him, fast forward a year, and for him to really, seal the game on that final interception was really fitting, because to me, Rodney Harrison, he embodied what that Patriots team, that era of the Patriots was all about.
Rodney Harrison, 3rd postseason interception for Rodney Harrison.
Scott Pioli, Patriots Director of Player Personnel.
And here's the thing: is my respect, for Andy Reid as a coach and a person. He and I had spent a lot of time together, even after games. We had played him against him other times, and Andy was just always a favorite of mine. And so you knew they were well coached. They were a talented football team. Donovan, good quarterback, a good team. They played smart. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. And, thankfully, the one hiccup they had was near the end of the game, right? When they had to go 2-minute drill.
And the Patriots have done it again. Back to back. 3 out of 4.
There's a whole lot of hugging going on.
All right.
Paul Perillo, Patriots Football Weekly.
That was the difference. You watch Donovan McNabb, who was a talented guy, and you watch Tom Brady, and I'm not just talking about the punchline that McNabb is throwing up in the huddle, but I felt like this is kind of the origin of a lot of the Andy Reid can't handle the clock. You remember how methodical they were in the they're down 10 in the fourth quarter. I just felt like it was a striking contrast between the utmost in preparation and execution on the New England side and sort of a little bit less than the best in terms of those things on the Philadelphia side. And that ultimately was the difference in the game. And, if you're Philadelphia, it sort of overshadows the remarkable performance by Terrell Owens in a game that not many people, and Bill Belichick has admitted this, they didn't even expect him to play, which tells you why he was such a problem, because they really weren't as prepared for him as they normally would have been.
The final horn sounded, and for the 3rd time in 4 seasons, the Patriots were Super Bowl champs, defeating the Eagles by a score of 24-21.
That's the final play. Brady with my favorite play takes a knee at the end of the game. And the Patriots are world champions again. 24-21, back-to-back. World championships, 3 out of 4. Yes, it's a dynasty.
With 11 catches for 133 yards, Deion Branch was named the game's MVP.
First of all, I'd like to thank God and all my coaches and the players for having the confidence in me to come out and put on the show that we displayed tonight, going against a great team, and we're just thankful right now.
Well, I'll tell you who else is thankful. I got something in my pocket I'd like to give you. As the MVP of Super Bowl 39, the Cadillac of your choice, there's the keys.
Deion Branch, Louisville.
I think a funny scenario right before this actually happened, before they actually told me. You know, Rodney always called me, and I love this guy. He calls me all the time talking about, I'm actually the most valuable player of that game. And I tell him, because what happened, the vote was in, and then he actually got his second pick a little bit after the vote. So I am all the time, I'm like, Rodney, if you'd have kind of intercepted the ball a little bit earlier, like Coach Belichick was begging you guys to play a little better defense on the back end, maybe you would have won that award. That's your fault if you want to wait with 2 seconds left on the clock to intercept a pass. But overall, man, knowing that, we're sitting on the bench, we're praying that the defense stopped these guys, in which we knew they would. We had faith that they would. You can look over to the side and see like 20 guys with suits on. You're not paying attention. We know Tom Brady's the MVP. They're on our sidelines because they believe we're going to win the game. And then, lo and behold, one of the guys come and tap me on my shoulder. And it's so crazy because it's surreal, man. I can feel it, man. I'm in that moment. He said, hey, if you all win, you're the MVP. And it's just like my teammates that were around, they were more excited about that right away than I probably said. I was more shocked, but they were way more excited. You know what I'm saying? Tom was just standing in front of me like, bro, you did it. You did it. I'm like, no, we did it. I didn't do anything. But I think I take from that game, that moment, first winning the game, but the excitement from my teammates when they told me that, hey, you'll be the MVP if you all finish this game. So that was pretty cool, man.
2 years in a row now, you've had huge games in the Super Bowl. 11 catches today for 133 yards.
So me personally winning the game with my teammates and having them sharing that moment is the most important piece. The individual accolades come. Those things come and go. But I'm very honored, very blessed, and very pleased to be named amongst those great MVPs in Super Bowl history.
Corey Dillon, University of Washington.
Oh man, what a feeling! What a feeling! I mean, if you just coming back full circle, like from the year before to the end, and believe me, there's gonna be a lot of naysayers for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? That's just natural. But to go through what I went through, and then the very next year, be holding up the trophy, says it all. I think that kind of kills a lot of misconception out there about who I am and what I can do.
Wow.
Well, if not a dynasty, Gil, I want to say that
I want to know what one is.
Nick Fitzy Stevens, Patriots fan and personality.
What is the most Patriot-like element of the Super Bowl 39 win? It's 2 images. It's Troy Brown doing his best to guard the best receiver in the NFL, whatever it takes. That's the Patriot way to me. And then it's Bill Belichick having the ice-cold Gatorade bucket dumped over his head, hugging his dad. Like, those are those little moments along the way that sometimes we overlook, but like that's what Patriot greatness was all about.
Bill Belichick tonight wins the Lombardi Trophy, and he passes Vince Lombardi 10-1 in postseason.
For Bill Belichick, the win officially solidified his place among the game's all-time greatest coaches. Culmination celebrated with his father, with whom he shared so much of his football history. Belichick had not only used his vast football knowledge to find weaknesses in every opponent his team faced, but also held together a championship team and found a way to keep them hungry for continued greatness.
To me, this trophy belongs to these players. They've met all comers this year. It's been a great, challenging year. For the last 2 playoff games against Indianapolis and Pittsburgh, and then this great team out here today from the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. These players have just played great all year, played their best in the big games. and they deserve it.
Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
And obviously, as a young coach, try to take in. I spent a lot of time with Bill from day one I walked in that building. He just really invested in us as young coaches and taught us. And I think if he recognized something in you that said, like, hey, this guy's really intellectually can handle the game the way I want it handled, then he really kind of pours into you. But like I said at the beginning, I think the biggest thing for me coaching-wise was the teaching in the team room of the situational football, and he always just had this vision of like where the game was going to go before it actually went there, and staying in front of it, which I thought was pretty amazing, and he would teach us that way. And that was pretty impressive. We had a bunch of alphas in that room. So the best way to motivate them a lot of times was, hey, these guys are really good. Look what they do here. Or this guy's probably going to be, really hard to block. You're not going to be able to block him, or this guy's going to run you over. And those guys actually were like, oh, okay. All right, well, I'm about to destroy this dude. And, he'd walk out of the meeting room and he'd have the little smirk and we'd be smiling. He's like, that guy's about to be in a lot of trouble.
Charlie Weiss, offensive coordinator.
My other awesome memory goes all the way to my very end when, Bill grabbed me and Romeo. Like, that was a moment that I'll always cherish because, we spent a lot of time together and we were all going separate directions. So that was kind of cool.
It's a scene we've seen now 3 times in the last 4 years. Bill got a Gatorade shower as the final play of the game was run off by Tom Brady. Let's let the quarterback kneel down and go home victorious.
With an epic Super Bowl win in the books, an epic party followed and ended up complicating the travel plans for one young assistant. Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
So we win the Super Bowl, right? And I mean, obviously I've never experienced anything like this before. Now, I've also been up for like 7 months straight. Like, I haven't slept. Like, I've been grinding. Like, it's crazy. You got your family, you got your friends at the Super Bowl. You go to the after party. I've never seen anything like this before. I've got like Earth, Wind, and Fire in this room over here. Snoop Dogg's over there. Like, it's just the most amazing thing. So, this is pretty cool. So you're having a good time. You're celebrating. You're with everybody. We're laughing. We're joking. You're completely exhausted, but it's the one night where it doesn't matter. So I get back to the hotel room. I'm exhausted. I'm like, I look, and all of our bags have to be packed and outside the door so they can come pick them up and get them on, because we're going right home. So you're completely exhausted. It's, you probably had a few cocktails and you're trying to figure this out. And I'm like, all right, they're coming to get the bags. I got to, in 10 minutes, because we've been out all night, and let me pack everything up and then I can sleep for 20 and then I got to go catch the bus. So I just pack everything in my bag and I put it outside the hotel room and I pass out. Wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go get on the bus. And I remember looking around my room and I was like, I think I packed all my clothes. I'm like, they took all I had no clothes. I had nothing. I think my boxers or whatever I was wearing. And so now I'm like, how am I going to get on the bus? Like, what am I going to do? So I go to the closet and then, you get the hotel robe, which only comes to like here, right? That's all I got. So I'm like, I'm going to have to go buy clothes to go get on the bus because I just packed and they took all my stuff is gone. It's at the airport. So I have this tiny bathrobe on, like nobody wants to see this. And I'm like wandering down to the gift shop. And I remember buying this really horrific, Super Bowl, like sweatsuit or whatever you call them, like, those warm-up jackets, suits. And that's what I wore home.
And so the Patriots come to Jacksonville, Florida as defending champions, and they will leave Jacksonville, Florida as defending champions, the best team in the National Football League.
It would be a decade before the Patriots would raise another Super Bowl banner, further putting into perspective how special the 3 championship runs from 2001 to 2004 were. The plucky underdog that came out of nowhere in 2001.
Kick is on the way, and it is good! It's good! It's good! Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the game is over, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The best team in the National Football League! Adam Vinatieri! 48 yards! Oh, baby!
Then used a down year in 2002 as a springboard to back-to-back titles.
He is hit. He is down. It is over! We're Super Bowl champions again!
2003 proved the first title was no fluke, and 2004 cemented the Patriots' place in history.
So this is truly a nice happening once again. 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. Joins an elite group of winning 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. Truly America's team.
According to the advanced statistic DVOA, the 2004 team was the best of the bunch. Not just of these first 3 titles, but of all 6 of New England's Super Bowl championships.
Aaron Schatz, creator of the advanced football metric DVOA.
Yeah, so the 2004 Patriots are pretty clearly the best Patriots championship team, not just of the first dynasty, but of either of the 2 dynasties. They had teams that were better in the regular season, 2007 and 2010, but those teams got upset. They didn't win Super Bowls. 2004 is the best team to win a Super Bowl. And actually, if you are looking at DVOA, including the playoffs, they are the 9th best team ever measured since 1978. Actually, compared to a lot of the other great Patriots teams of the Belichick era, what stands out is that they weren't great in all 3 phases because they were only average in special teams. They were 16th on special teams that year. But I mean, they were great on offense and defense. They were 3rd on offense. They were 4th on defense, and they were great both passing and rushing, right? So they had a top 5 run offense, pass offense, run defense, and pass defense.
For those players, coaches, and executives directly involved in the season, 2004 was a culmination in more ways than one.
Scott Pioli, Patriots Director of Player Personnel.
2004 was an incredible team because it was not only talented, but we went out and got, brought in players that were accepted and accepted us and our way, and that our players accepted. Corey being a great example. And everyone gets caught up in the just do your job thing. That's a really important thing. But you know what? Just do your job sometimes means being prepared to be outside of your stated job. Troy did that, right? There were other players that made significant contributions. I mean, we didn't have a number 1 receiver. We had David Gibbons, David Patton, Deion Branch. Patrick Pass had a bunch of catches that year. Christian Fourier. Who can forget Christian, right? We went out and built a football team and had people buy into that football team. I mean, you think about the job that our coaching staff did to prepare those players and to make sure, our offensive coaching staff and Charlie Weiss, and Ernie, who had a lot of input to that, we knew what the strengths and the limitations with the players were. And when they had to use new players, they used those players to their strength and they limited the limitations. Romeo on the other side of the ball did the same thing. Brad Seeley, that staff. Dante Scarnecchia, he had to retool that offensive line. And to me, the brilliance of the collective and how everyone did their job, that's to me what that 2014 is so much about.
We got a saying around here, we don't lose hat and t-shirt games. Whenever we can get a free hat and a free t-shirt, we play so much harder. But man, it feels good. I mean, that's 3,
Teddy Bruschi, Arizona. I remember being on a flight back from Carolina, the Super Bowl in Houston, right? Yeah, in Houston. And Fife calls me over, Roman Pfeiffer, one of my favorite teammates, into the linebacker, calls me over and says, Brew, you know what, man? We win this next one next year and we'll be a dynasty. And we all sort of knew that, but you just suppress it and not think about it because, I mean, you just think about what you got to do. But with all of that pressure now, these players were the same players that won a championship when no one thought we could in 01. So all of a sudden, we were the underdog versus the St. Louis Rams, the then St. Louis Rams in 01, and now we've turned ourselves into the favorites versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's an entire mentality switch in terms of perspective, but still, we were the same people in terms of what we had to be in winning a championship. That's probably what I remember most about these guys, is that we stayed the same. We learned what happened after 01 in terms of getting full of yourselves, but then we just reached back and found it, and we kept it that way all the way through that season. The 06, 07, all these guys that just stayed around through the whole time that leading the way through the perspective that we had to have, but with the work that had to be done. I think it was a tough job in terms of leadership and a mentality that you had to maintain.
It's been a long year, but everyone's so excited. It'll start sinking in the next few days. Once we get that third Super Bowl ring, that's when it's really going to sink in.
Paul Perillo, Patriots Football Weekly.
The best team that they've had in their history was 2004. I think it was the most balanced team on both sides of the ball, not just running and passing offensively, but offense, defense, special teams, coaching. Now you're starting to see Tom Brady really enter his prime. He's clearly established himself as one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback by that time in football. And there was just no weakness. I think of some of the younger guys that were now 3- and 4-year vets, not just Brady, but like, Richard Seymour, Matt Light, those kinds of guys. You mix in some younger guys, that had come in the draft, like, Daniel Graham was around, Benjamin Watson, Vince Wilfork, Asante Samuel and Eugene Wilson. Those are players that really contributed a lot more than you would think that younger guys would, and it was sort of a maturation of everything. Deion Branch, that was his 3rd year. He was dominant. He was dominant in that postseason. So to me, the difference was now they have a championship caliber offense as well. They've had the defense for the last couple of years. Now they have an offense to match.
Deion Branch, Louisville.
Yeah, I'll just say how we actually, a lot of people talk about doing it, going out, mimicking what you did the year before and then repeating everything, but also not just saying doing it that way, but improving. That's some of the things that I would probably say, hey, yeah, in 03 we set out to do it. We did it. 04, we set out to do it, but even do it better. And we did that. We did it. Everybody did it. We brought in all the coaches, starting with the front office, the scouts. These guys did a tremendous job going out, scouting the proper guys, the right guys to bring in to add to what we have already. Coach Belichick bringing in the veterans, the signings that we brought in, our coaching staff. That means something. It has to resonate somewhere. You have to feel that. And I think that's the biggest piece with us actually going out, mimicking what we did the year before, but also doing it better. That's the stuff that just sticks with me. It's almost like, can you get better? Can you do any better than what you did? Yes, you can. There's always room for you to improve.
Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl.
I was fortunate to be a part of 6 Super Bowl teams, 3 there in New England. And the thing that sets all those teams apart, and the locker rooms were constructed a little differently, but I mean, they all had a connectivity, and they all had really good glue guys in the locker room. A lot's made of the alphas on these great teams and the captains and the big name guys. But you look at that team, and there was a lot of glue guys on that team in that locker room that kept that thing together. So it was just a true team, I think, in every sense of the word. And they adapted, and they were focused. And I think they really, again, they embodied what Bill and Scott, to me, were trying to build there. And that's just a tough, dependable, smart football team week in and week out.
Matt Patricia, offensive assistant.
All of it was special to me because, to get in the NFL in year one, win a Super Bowl it's insane. I'd had buddies that have been coaching the NFL for their entire lives and not even make a playoff game. Now, you also get very spoiled. You start walking around and be like, okay, yeah, this is easy. Like, we're going to do this again. It's not. I think when you look back at it, what you realize about each of the Super Bowl teams, and certainly the 04 team, all of them is just obviously great players, but just how much fun like everyone had while they worked. I thought that's the beauty of it. That was the key, is they just were so tight. They loved to go compete. They worked so hard together. They played outstanding. The confidence was unbelievable. The confidence of this team was amazing. But just how hard they worked for each other and how close they were, and I would say it to future teams when we finally got back. And, I remember saying it to my defenses too. I'm like, when you win this game, you're bonded for life. And that's how you feel, that each one of them is different. They're like your kids, but each one of them are different, but you're bonded to those guys forever because you were able to achieve the highest of mountains and, hold that trophy up because you all did it together.
Nick Fitzy Stevens, Patriots fan and personality.
What stands out most to me about the Patriots coming into the 2004 season as the Super Bowl favorite after winning Super Bowl 38, and then raising the Lombardi at the tail end of the season, completing the job, was this was the first time I think true expectations had ever been foisted upon a team. Like, they were the favorite. Everybody was looking to them. Everyone was gunning for them. And they were able to live up to the hype and handle the expectations. That was a new element to Boston sports fandom and rooting for the Patriots. Gone was expecting them to lose 48-10 with Steve Grogan running for his life. Gone was wondering, wait, Russ McPherson, Sequels Hodgson, like, these are all faint memories now. When you think of the Patriots now, thanks to what they were able to execute in the 2004 season, you think greatness. And a new standard was established, I think. And now a new standard has been established that would change the way we look at the Patriots and kind of the Boston sports scene at large.
Scott Pioli, Patriots Director of Player Personnel.
It was truly a manifestation of what we set out to do. And that was it, because again, you mentioned it was several years in, and we wanted to pride our organization on player development, player acquisition, player development, and player retention. We weren't able to retain everyone for a variety of reasons, but you're right. You ask how I feel. I mean, can't you hear my voice? I mean, it was something incredible to be a part of. You know what I mean? And to serve a role and a purpose within it with so many people that were so willing to give.
24-21, back-to-back world championships, 3 out of 4. Yes, it's a dynasty.
This has been a Patriots Super Bowl Sound Odyssey. 2004, yes, it's a dynasty. A special thanks to all the players, coaches, executives, and everyone else who took the time to sit down with me and recount their fond memories. Also a shout out to Stacey James, Aaron Salkin of the Patriots PR staff, Matt Smith of Craft Sports Productions, and producer and host of the Pats from the Past podcast. Finally, a huge thanks to audio producer Matt Morrell, the man who dug up all the clips and cobbled all 12 episodes of the Patriots Super Bowl Sound Odyssey together. My name is Mike Dussault, and thanks to you, the fans and listeners, for joining me on this fun trip down memory lane. The first Patriots dynasty brought Patriots fans together from around the world and grew the fan base, but it was most special for those of us who never imagined anything like their dominance would ever be possible. And after 3 titles, it was actually just the beginning.